Welcome back to our training videos from TrainPro. Today we're going to talk about creating a consistent estimate tree in Xactimate. So what makes up a good estimate tree, and does it really matter? Well, let's see about a tree and its fruits. The saying says that a good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Therefore, you can tell a tree apart by its fruit. Now, I'm not quite sure what that has to do with anything, but I just thought it was pretty appropriate since we're talking about good and bad estimate trees. So let's take an example of a bad tree. So if you look here on the left, we've got our sketch 1, which is the default sketch layer. And then we've got our main level, which is the default level. And we have a roof under there. We have our living room, a garage roof. Then we drop into our contents and debris. And then we talk about our different elevations, and then some general items. Like this adjuster just kind of wrote the estimate tree as they went along, as it was thinking of, hey, what do I need to add in? Oh yeah, I forgot. I got some roof items here. I gotta do some stuff in the living room. Oh yeah, then I worked on the garage. So it's like no consistency or no good flow to that estimate tree. Let's take a look at a good estimate tree. So in a good one here, it flows from the main dwelling down to the roof, the exterior by elevations, the first floor of the home by the rooms inside that first floor. Then we have our second floor with the rooms through it. And then we move into the detached garage, the roof, and the interior of that detached garage. So that's a much cleaner, easier to understand, and it flows really well estimate tree. So we're going to jump over to Xactimate here and let you take a look at how we could put that together. Okay, so let's take a look at how a good estimate tree should be laid out. So I have one preset here for us to take a quick look at. And generally, what I'd suggest you do is always create one that has a structure for the main dwelling first. The next portion would be any detached structures, and then your debris removal, and then your contents, because this is basically going to be, depending on which carrier you're working, your main dwelling is going to be your coverage A. Your other structures will either be coverage A if you're working. Some carriers will also be part of coverage A, but most carriers would be coverage B. Your debris would be debris related to coverages A and B, and then your contents, which is typically coverage C, or personal property coverage line, depending on who the carrier you work for. So the way I have this structured out right now is I have the main dwelling, some detached structures, and inside of each of these I've got, for main dwelling, I have a roof, my exterior, which is broken down by elevation, and then my interior. And I do the same thing in my detached structures. I have my roof, I have my exterior, and then my interior. And so it's a pretty nice layout right here. It makes it real a good form, so to speak, of how that estimate should flow. And so if you can kind of get into the habit of creating a consistent, smooth flowing estimate tree, your reviewers are going to love you for it, your managers will love you for it, the insurance carrier is going to love you for it, and the insured and their contractors, because it's just so much easier to read. Now the way I created this is basically I have, again, my main dwelling and my detached structures, which come from my sketch. If I come here and look at the main dwelling, again, if you've watched one of my earlier videos on sketch levels and layers, here's my sketch. Right here's my main dwelling, and you'll see I have an interior and a roof. On my detached structures, again, I have an interior and a roof. Okay? So by creating that structure in advance, it allows me to go ahead and create my structures in that same order in my estimate tree. Now, if I have a estimate that doesn't have a detached structure, I can just simply delete that whole area from my sketch, and that will disappear out the sketch as well, and my estimate tree. If I don't have anything on the main dwelling, I could delete up here and just leave my detached structures. Okay, so it's pretty easy to have that nice format. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and get out of this estimate, and I'm going to create myself a new sample right here. And we'll get a price list attached to it real fast. We just use the training price list. And I have a blank estimate tree at this point. So the way I would typically start this is I'd come into Sketch, and I'm on default as Sketch 1, so I would come out here and I would go to my properties of that Sketch 1, and we're going to call that main dwelling. And then from here I could go ahead and rename this if I want to be, for the properties, I could make this my interior. It could be my first level, second level, whatever it may need to be. And then I'll add another level and we'll call this the roof. And so on the interior, what I'd like to do is drop a room in here. And on the roof, I'm going to go ahead and drop a simple roof in here. And you're going to see if we go back to our estimate tree now, what it's done is created my interior with a room and the roof with a room. And I can sit here and click and I can drag this up here and say I want my roof here before my interior. But we also want to add our exterior in. So I'm going to go now, I'm going to say add. We're going to add the exterior. Now before I hit the attach button, which is the only option here, I'm going to hit my continuous add. And then I'll hit attach. Now here's the key to speeding this process up. Now I'm going to say I want my front, and I'll attach. And you'll see how it brings it in attached to the exterior. Now you can either go clockwise or counterclockwise. I traditionally like to go clockwise with mine, so I'm going to do left. And at this point, I'm going to hit the append button. Then I'll hit my rear, append, and then I'm going to do my right elevation last. And then I can hit cancel. So I've now got my exterior with the 4 elevations to it. And again, I'll take that and I'm going to drag that up. Oop, that's the one thing you got to watch out for. Sometimes when you drag them, they will drag out of order. So I'm going to do this. I am going to select and make sure that's highlighted. My exterior is highlighted. And drag it up so that now all of that came together. Okay, so I have basically my roof, my exterior, and then there's my interior as well. So go back to Sketch. We're going to add us a new sketch and go to the properties of that to rename that. And so we're going to call that our detached. Building. I'm going to rename the level here to be my interior. I'll add another one, call it roof. And then what I need to do is I'm going to add, on the interior, I'm going to add a simple room. On the roof, I'm going to also add a room. I'm going to actually add a roof on this level here. So now when I come back over here, I have my detached building, my interior, and my roof. Only thing I need to do now is change the order of it. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag up my roof here. And now instead of redoing my exterior, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and right click and say let's copy. I'm going to right click here and I'm going to paste and attach it out there. And then the last thing I want to do is actually take my interior and drag it down below my exterior. Because typically you do your roof, your exterior, and then your interior. So there's my interior, there's my exteriors, and my roof of my detached building. So we can close all of these out here. And then the last thing you want to add into your estimate tree is, again, depending on the carrier you're working for, if they want contents in the estimate, debris removal, maybe some temporary repairs, you could add these in here. So we're just going to go ahead and say we have maybe debris. And then I click up here again and say let's add in any contents. And we'll attach that as well. So now I have a very concise, well-oriented, and well-organized estimate tree that I can use on this estimate. In our next training video, we're going to show you how to take this and simply duplicate it on every one of your estimates to save you all this setup time at the front end of every estimate. Again, thank you for spending your time with us today, and hope you enjoyed the training. Again, visit us online at gotrainpro.com, and also check us out on our YouTube channel and subscribe to our channel. We'd greatly appreciate it. Hope you have a great evening.